What's up guys, we're in Pacifica again. I just wanted to give you a little update on what's going on right now since I haven't posted a fishing video in about 2 weeks. We're going on a trip in about a couple days, like Monday. I'm sure you're sick of Pacifica videos by now, but this is the last weekend I'm able to go for solely crab, because on Monday I'm going to Hawaii, Waikiki, to go fishing and visit my brother. Yeah, so like I said, we're gonna go on Monday to Hawaii to go fishing and visit my little brother. The season right now is not the best. The best time of year to go out there is the summertime. But in Hawaii, there's really no fishing seasons. You just have to go find the fish. So I'm only taking gear that I know casts really well and that I know the fish are gonna like. It's taken me a couple few $100 purchases to build my collection. So don't think that this is all from just one purchase. All right, so let's get to it and I'll show you some of the stuff that's in my tackle bag. I'm mostly going to be throwing lures from the shore, which is plugging, but I'm also going to go on a boat twice. So all these things right here can fit inside of my backpack that I can take around wherever I want to. This backpack will carry all the tackle that I'll need for the whole trip. I'll be there for a week, so I need to take everything that I need so I don't have to buy anything. So I'm going to show you all of these lures, but I can't go into each one into detail. I'm going to pick a couple of my favorites, as well as give you a couple hints and tips for how to use these things. So what I look for in a lure is casting distance and the way that it swims in the water. I also have all these different lures for different situations that I may have come across. Sometimes the water may be shallow, sometimes it may be deep. It could be light outside or it could be overcast. The current could be strong, there could be no current. The fish could be on the top, they could be on the bottom. Do you need to cast far? Do you need to cast right in front of you? Are the fish being picky? So you need something that swims really well. Maybe you need something more subtle because the fish are being more skittish. Or maybe you need a super bright color because the water is murky. All these factors can lead to you not catching fish. So you need to have the right tools for the job, in my opinion. So in this box, I have my heavy setup. In this box, I have my light setup. In this box, I have my ultralight setup. This box is a miscellaneous box full of different tackles, hooks, weights. I have all my leaders here, 60 pound, 12 pound, 30 pound. I also have extra spool of braid, just in case I need to re-spool one of my reels. I have my Tupperware of hooks that I can change out, and depending on the weight of the lure, if one's not sharp anymore, I can just easily switch it out. So I keep all my hooks in a Tupperware like this. I don't rig each one of my lures because that's really expensive. Hooks and split rings, they add up. And also they get rusted if you leave it on there and you don't rinse them off. So in here I have a bag full of grubs and plastics. These I use for whipping. All different colors and shapes and sizes. You have strips, some that look like squid, some that have like flashy glitter in them, some the heads are thicker than the tails so that it has a really good action. Fish are really sensitive to color, like trout, so if one color's not working, then you switch to another one. So like you got this bubblegum color, And these are strips, so they come apart. These are all my grubs and plastic strips. So now I'm gonna dig down a little deeper into the lures. I got my heavy setup, my light setup, and my ultralight setup. And I'm gonna talk about a couple of the lures and a couple of hints and tips. Alright guys, so the first tackle box I'm gonna show you with lures in it is my heavy setup. In here, I have lures that are 3 ounces and above. I can only use these with my heavy setup. So we have a different array of poppers. This is my favorite popper, made by Jansen. It's really light, and it disperses a lot of water. Makes a really big pop with barely any effort. And it casts really far because it's really tail weighted. And my favorite lures are the tail weighted ones. The problem with tail weighted lures is the action isn't as great as the balanced ones or the ones with transfer weights in them. But this has a nice finish on it, and it is my favorite popper right now. Another popper is just a cheap little popper like this. It doesn't disperse as much water because of the shape of the body. It's kind of more skinny. The cup face doesn't have as big of a cup. But this really goes underwater and really throws a lot of bubbles underwater. So it's just a different action. Next, you got another one of those poppers, just in different colors. I've noticed for poppers as much, color doesn't really matter. It's more shape and the way that the action is. Because when the fish are looking up, they can't really see the color, they can see more profile. So that brings me to another point in how you can use color in helping you fish. So when you're in a surf area, like a lot of whitewater, I found that white lures work really well. And for some reason, the fish can really see white lures in that whitewash. So I use, like this is a Sabile stick shad. It has kind of more lazy, kind of bigger kind of turn to it. I think because it has this blade on the bottom. Back to the top water. We have these really great topwater jigs. So with this lure, this is a topwater lure. It was made in Mexico. It was designed for Mexican fish, which is the same as Hawaiian fish. In places like Cabo, the beaches are really steep and the waves are extremely dangerous. So people don't go in the water in Cabo. It's really weird looking, seeing all of the people on the beach and nobody in the water. But the reason is because the currents are so strong and the waves are so big. So a key to fishing in Cabo and Mexico areas is distance, because you need to be able to get over those waves. And if you can't, then you won't be able to catch fish. So this is tail weighted like the other one, and it casts amazing, like a bullet so far. And you just wind it in with the reel. Anybody can do it. And it just skips on the top and acts like a freaked out bait fish. And it's so visual because they come up and they just strike it like they're pissed off at something. This is another version of a topwater lure made for distance, very tail weighted. But this is meant to be burned on the top as well, and has a little walk the dog skitter action across the water. It's amazing lure. Another one is a Duo Realis, one of my best looking lures, my favorite lure. Comes in floating, sinking, slow floating. These are good for halibut and things more towards the bottom. So it's good to have both sinking and floating lures for all 3 setups. The Duo. This is called the Rough Trail. The Duo Rough Trail, my favorite lure. This one looks like a mahi-mahi or a dorado. Last but not least, we have a whopper plopper. If you've never heard of these are one of the best top waters. I've used this, I just keep it in the box because I have a wire leader that I have rigged on it. Different color. I'm going to use these to troll off the boat. Just throw them through the back and just have them chug. I might be the first person to catch a GT on a whopper plopper. Stay tuned. Alright guys, moving on to my light setup. In my light setup, I have a smaller size Duo rough trails, different colors. This one's floating, this one's sinking, same colors. I have jerk baits, Duo Realis jerk baits. More Duo Realis jerk baits. This is called a fang bait. Some of the best looking lures. I love the whopper ploppers. They have an amazing chug. And each size has a different vibration. It has a different frequency. So if one's not working, you just change up the size. It gives off a higher vibration or a lower one. This is a Duo top water. It's a pencil popper. So this is another Duo lure. It's a pencil popper. Has a little cup, pops a little water, but it gives a little walk the dog action on the top of the water, which drives the fish nuts in the mahi-mahi color. I have it in pink. This is one of my favorite top waters ever. It's the Head-In Super Spook. It has one of the best actions of all the lures, just like that. It almost, when you're walking the dog, it basically goes sideways like this. I have jerk baits by Rapala. These are the X-Wraps. These catch everything and anything. So I keep a bunch of these in different colors. Albino with the blue inside. Shiny eye. These are sinking, and then you jerk it really hard like this, and then it goes, freaks out, and really good tuna lure. So I have those in blue, kind of translucent. I got a white ghost, red bottom. So we have more of those poppers, my favorite poppers, but in smaller sizes. Same with that pencil popper. Smaller size sinking stick baits again. You always need floating and sinking, multiple colors. Top water, poppers, metal jigs. I really like metal because everything in the ocean really eats it. And it casts the best out of, if you really need the distance, you use metal jigs. I caught 3 salmon off the beach last year and people weren't able to reach them, but I was, because I was using a really heavy setup and a metal jig, and I caught 3. This was actually the lure I caught them with. It's a Mickey jig. Just like a Castmaster. More Mexican topwater, like a skidder kind of topwater kind of thing. Different jigs from Japan. Some have these weight transfer systems in it. Some are the classics. Some have assist hooks. Some don't. And some have 2 on the bottom. And then we have the classics. These kill the striped bass. My favorite lure for years, the SP Minnow floating. Caught so many striped bass on this right here. Last year I caught a 27 incher right where we go crabbing with a silver one. This is one by Shimano. This one was by Daiwa. This one's by Shimano. This one's a sinking one. So floating, sinking, floating, sinking. This is another Shimano Orca. Sinking. There's also Orca floating, but this is the Orca sinking. I like the sinking stick baits because you can choose what depth it goes to. You can, depending on how long you wait. And then another just stick bait. This one's kind of cool, has double hook. All right, so that's it. Let's move on to the next one. All right, last but not least is my ultralight setup. This is for trout. But basically I have some swim baits here. They're not under 1 ounce, but I just didn't have space. I rig it like this because I used to get a lot of bites on the tail. You do from hook to split ring to barrel swivel, and then you just hook the hook inside of the swim bait to hold it together. Same thing. So that way, when you pull this hook, see, it ain't going nowhere. For one, this makes your swim baits last a lot longer because you don't get their tails nipped off all the time. 2, you catch a lot more fish. This is the Rapala ripstop. Fisherman's Life uses this on his boat to troll for halibut. It has a really nice finish. Why he likes trolling with these is when he stops his trolling motor, the bait doesn't sink down and get caught in the weeds on the bottom, it just suspends there. So he can stop and go all he wants and not worry about his bait sinking down and getting hooked on some weeds. So we have more X-Wraps, just smaller sized. Looks like a little minnow. Say the water's murkier and you need a bigger profile and you need something crazy, huh? When would you ever see that in the wild? But it works in murky water. And then you can go the total opposite of that and go hyper realistic. This looks like a little perch or a shad or something. Of course you need some poppers for the ultralight. Jerk baits, smaller, by Strike Pro. So one's by Strike Pro and one's by Yozuri. But all these little lures, you think, how the hell do you throw these things? If you balance your line and your reel and your rod and your lures, you can throw these little guys almost as far as the other ones. So speaking of little guys, got 3 little jerk baits again. Miniature Hawaiian handmade lure. I also got metal lures. This one's popular in Florida off the piers. Jigs, smaller jigs. We got little fish imitation ones. And we even have classics like little Cast Masters. spinners, little rooster tails. And that's it, guys. Alright guys, so that's the stuff that fits in my backpack. I appreciate you guys watching. And we'll be in Hawaii here pretty soon. So stay tuned for some more episodes. And subscribe so you don't miss any. Other than that, that's it for me. Thanks guys.